Okay, go ahead.
The museum was officially opened in 1908. It was at Fort Lugard on Old Kampala Hill. It was transferred to Makerere University in 1942, and it came here in 1953 at its current home. It is called Kitante Hill. We have music instruments, we have science and industry, ethnohistory, ethnography, natural history. So I hope we shall just have a general list.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll start with history. Then sorry, today we've had load shed, we have missing power, so we will have darkness in the displays, but if you will try to see, this is about the history of the museum. It was its first building in 1908 at Old Kampala Fort Lugard. Then when it was transferred to Makerere University, this is how it looked in the School of Arts. Then when it came here in 1953, it underwent different stages, and this is how the museum looks today.
Okay.
It dates about 109 years altogether.
Okay.
Then this is the name of the site. It is called Bigo Byamugenyi. So Bigo Byamugenyi is the biggest Iron Age site in Uganda, and it was the capital of the second dynasty around 1400 AD. It was called the Trace dynasty. But we remember the people who lived in this dynasty to have been demigods, in that even when they were born of man and woman, they did not die, but just disappeared. So the capital of these people was at a site called Bigo Byamugenyi, and these are some of the different remains that were discovered from that site. It is found in the present-day Sembabule district. Sembabule is west of Kampala.
No bodies.
Even presently, people know, we know that they were living, but when you trace for them, you don't find any.
Mm-hmm.
But we have other remains which are not for humans that do their time.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is another site here, and this is in the form of a landscape. It's about 4 meters high. It is called Ntosi. But when archaeologists excavated, they discovered different remains from its layers, like grinding stones, kind of knives, beads from ivory, horns of cows, broken pots. They believed this landscape could have been like a dumping pit, whereby they were chasing people who disappeared to go dumping their remains, like their rubbish, their ash, their sand, and after a long time, it formed about a landscape. So these remains do date the time of those people's existence. So these are also like evidence to ensure that they were living and representing the different activities they were carrying out. So they might have had an activity like agriculture due to grinding stones. They might have had also iron smelting to have this kind of knives. They might have had like livestock due to horns of cows and also potteries. So the sites are near each other in Sembabule district. And these remains do date the same time as their existence, around 1400.
Okay.
Then if you try to see here, that sculpture is called Luzila Head or Mpanga. And it was named Luzila after its discovery in a site called Luzila when they are building the biggest prison in Uganda. It is called Luzila Prison. This sculpture is made of clay, but in East Africa, we don't have this form of clay around in which it is made. But then this clay is said to be similar to the clay found in West Africa. So because in this region, we have an ethnic group of people which came from West Africa, it is called the Bantu people. So they believe the Bantu are the one who came along with this identity of the region. Mm-hmm. The Bantu came around by 10th century. And when it was discovered, it was first taken to the British Museum, later returned in Uganda. Then if you just try to look at its back, that's an impression of bark cloth, a fabric they were dressing on from back of a fig tree. It's called bark cloth.
Okay.
You've seen bark cloth before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then this is a map of Uganda, and this is trying to show archaeological sites. There are about 100,000. There are some archaeological remains down, like smoking pipes. Those were smoking pipes for tobacco. Then these are cowrie shells. They were the first medium of exchange as money. They were imported from Indian Ocean. Then you have grinding stones for grains, broken pots from different sites. And also here is one of the sites where they had excavations. That is called Hippo Bay Cave. It's found in Entebbe. There is also an illustration of some of the activities like charcoal production. They would always burn wood to get charcoal used in cooking, and that's how it was carried out. Then those pipes were used for iron smelting. They would push air through, while melting stone is to have iron tools. We shall see inside how they're melting for iron. Then that's a banana slug, this is an iron slug, just kind of remains. Then there is a map here, and this is trying to show different sites of Uganda. For instance, we are around here. This is Kampala, so near the shores of Lake Victoria. This is Lake Victoria down, so Kampala is near the shores. Then we have like the other site, Bigo, Byamgenyi, where the Bachwezi people who disappeared had their capital. That is a traditional site. These are labeled with white on our key, traditional sites. And it is west of Kampala. So from Kampala, if you move westwards 80 kilometers, Bigo, Byamgenyi is around here with white, where they had their capital. Then the other landscape, which was excavated, is an archaeological site with red, and was close to their capital. It's called Ntusi. Ntusi is down here. So this was a big dynasty, said to have occupied the whole of central, southern, even part of northern Tanzania, but their capital was around here. Then we have 10 national parks in Uganda. There is Lake Mbolo National Park in Mbarara. You can see zebras, hippos, elephants, antelopes. They have also introduced giraffes. Then there is Mugahinga. You find chimpanzees in Mugahinga. Then gorillas are in Bunty, Impenetrable National Park. There is Queen Elizabeth National Park. You can see the big 4. It would have been big 5, but because there are no white rhinos. Then there is Kibale Forest. There are some primates like chimpanzees. And Mountain Rwenzori. Rwenzori is the highest mountain in Uganda. It had a snow-capped peak, and it's also a national park. There is the Semliki Forest National Park. And this is in Machishon Falls. It is the biggest national park in Uganda. They are also said to be the fastest waterfalls in the world, running at a speed of about 3,000 cubic centimeters per second. Then this is Kidepo Valley National Park in the northeastern Uganda, and Mountain Elgon. This is the second highest mountain after Rwenzori, and it's also a national park.
Now, where's Gulu?
Gulu is up here.
Okay, so we came across a bridge. Where the bridge?
The bridge you came across on is around here. It was passing through this
We went over the Nile.
Yeah, this
So we
Nile.
went here?
Yeah, you passed around here, this side.
So we came from there all the way down to here.
Yeah. How long did it take you?
5 hours.
5 hours, okay.
Now, but we went over and we saw the baboons in the park.
Yeah, the baboons you saw, you were just passing on this side of the park. You know, this is a big park, so you just passed across the sides here.
Okay, what about the river? You said the fastest river. Which one is that?
The falls, those are falls. Now, it is the River Nile that flows into this lake, and then it forms those falls. They are called Machishon Falls.
So did we see those when we came? We saw some fast water.
No, those ones you see are Karma Falls. The ones you see, they are not the fastest. And
Not the fastest.
No.
So where's the road?
The fastest are in the national park, actually.
Where's the road? Where's the road?
No, the main road, these ones are the roads here.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Goes all the way. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
So, apart from the sides of Gulu, you've been to any other parts around?
No, just Gulu.
Okay.
I've been to Rwanda too, but in 2015. But
So, it's been there for leisure or what?
we just came today over there.
Okay. Then this is trying to show the evolution of the boundaries of Uganda. Presently, we're having Uganda just as it's right here, but before 1926, it used to be an open land without such boundaries. But they are now parts of Western Kenya, Southeast Sudan, Eastern Congo. So this evolved after Berlin Conference. It was around 1884. There was a scramble in partition of Africa when the different European powers had different interests in African territories. They held that convention, then they later had different treaties which were signed in different conventions. Then these other parts were next away. So these are some of the treaties that were signed where those parts were next away. So
So this is before the independence, of course.
Sure. Then this before coming of Europeans, people used to believe in traditional gods. There are different kingdoms in Uganda, like around the central, it is the Buganda kingdom. And in Buganda, if you try to see up, he's called Chibuka, and he was believed to be the god of war. Chibuka was a man, but said to have had supernatural powers, that whenever he was to fight, you could see clouds forming up, and then spears could come from such clouds. And that he also had a tree on which he could start flying in the clouds wherever he was to. But then they say Chibuka, he had a foreseer who was always warning him not to fall in love with the lady from one enemy side. But one time they said we were fighting with the Bunyolo. Bunyolo is a kingdom in western Uganda, and they captured some people. And that among those captives was a beautiful woman that Chibuka made a wife. But they say later when this lady knew that he forms clouds, she leaked information to the enemies in Bunyolo. And when Chibuka went fighting in Bunyolo, when they saw clouds forming, they knew it could be Chibuka. So they turned spears and started shooting up. So Chibuka is said to have been shot in the clouds, and he fell on a tree on which he could start flying. So they built up a shrine and they kept in some of his remains. So these different remains of Chiboka were also first taken to the British Museum, later returned in Uganda. So they are labeled with numbers and down are their translations.
Oh.
So this is testicle in case number 3?
Yeah. Number 3 and number 2 are inside here. So they are trying to use a mirror to reflect what's in there.
Oh, what?
Oh, the mirror shows inside of.
Oh, and what is that for?
So some stuff are inside here,
Just
so
trying to
you
show some
Oh,
of
you're
The mirror is
showing you
reflecting,
what's
yeah.
inside
the
of it.
parts in there.
Umbilical cord, shield, knife, spear.
Then,
Good.
this is before beginning of Uganda. It is a time when Uganda was known to outside continents. It was after coming of the first people at the coast of East Africa and those the Arab traders. They were majoring in trading and have some different items they were trading in. Exports from Uganda were ivory, salt, tortoise shells, slaves. These are the kind of bangles that were tied slaves. And among the imports were items like clothes and the guns. Then they were using cowl shells as a medium of exchange, as money from Indian Ocean. Then later came explorers. And these are the first white explorers that first came to Uganda. Like there is John Speke. John Speke is the very first white explorer who came in the interior of East Africa and that first reached the source of River Nile, and he wrote about it. There is explorer Stanley, Henry Morton Stanley. He circumnavigated Lake Victoria and he named the Ranzod Mountains of the Moon. He also wrote a letter on behalf of the king of Uganda by that time to Queen Victoria inviting missionaries. So from 2 years they are coming, we had the coming of missionaries. Then Sir Samuel Baker named Machishon Falls, which is also a national park, and Lake Albert. But even before, some of those sites had some other local names as well.
Okay.
So this is a copy of a letter which explorer Stanley wrote on behalf of the king of Uganda by that time to Queen Victoria inviting missionaries. And this is a telegraph that was published for the matter in England. So when missionaries were sent, this king had passed away to whom it had been written, and his son became the king. But unlike his father, for him he had a different view about coming of missionaries. He didn't like to work with the missionaries. Then there were some of his subjects who were collaborating with the missionaries. He didn't like that and he ordered for their murder. Those people were murdered. These are some of the names here. But later they were declared saints in Rome by Pope Benedict. So remember them as Uganda Martyrs. And every 3rd June is a Martyrs Day in Uganda. And when it is 3rd June, people make a pilgrims from different parts of the world to that area for holy journeys. So if you have more time around, that site is also worth visiting.
They set them on fire, didn't they?
Yeah, they were just burnt live. Yeah. So there's this Bible, unfortunately, it's not on display, but it was called Biscuit Tin Bible because they would keep in a tin of a biscuit to prevent termites and other insects from eating it up.
They were called what?
Like the termites and other insects.
Termites.
So this was to keep it in a tin of a biscuit.
Oh, so it didn't eat it.
Yeah, not really. Because at that time they used to have thatched houses that at times would bring in insects that would affect the Bible.
So what did they put it? Well, they made it out of something they couldn't eat.
No, it was paper as usual, but the keeping it was in a tin. of a
Oh, they
biscuit.
put it in tin.
Yeah.
So the bugs couldn't eat it up.
Sure. Then this is peace and progress period. This is when missionaries came in the interior. We had this first class to study abroad. These were first taken in Tunisia, some to England and Rome. And we had, this is the first printing press in Uganda. It was brought by the church missionaries from England. And there are some of the books that were first printed. Those are like Bibles, but in local languages like Uganda. We also had down some of the first missionary schools, hospitals that were built in different parts of the country by the missionaries who came. Then here, this is Kasubi tombs by 1950. Kasubi tombs is where they keep the remains of kings of Buganda, how it looked like. And this is also worth visiting. It's about 3 kilometers away from here. Then this is a view of Kampala at independence. The independence of Uganda was 1962, on 9th October. So it is today, independence. That's when it was the independence. So that's how Kampala was looking like.
Oh, wow.
Can I get this one here?
Yeah.
You have the light maybe on this one? Yeah, I want to see if I can
So we go fresh.
read it. I don't know if I can read it good. I'd like to read that. Let's see, 1 second. Okay. Okay. Maybe I can read it later on. I want to read it later on. Okay. All right.
So this monument is for Hamu Mukasa. Hamu Mukasa was born in 1870 and he was a son of a chief herdsman in the palace of Buganda. He was among the first Buganda to study how to read and write. He helped in translating the Matthew Gospel of the Bible to Uganda language, and he also brought back Kabaka Manga from the first exile during interreligious wars in Buganda, and he introduced the Boy Scout movement in Uganda.
Ah, nice.
And this is a litter. It was like a stretcher for transporting sick people. They will lie and be carried by 2 or more people to hospitals.
Oh, wow, nice.
Then we have some music instruments here. Like this one is called a tube fiddle. So this tube fiddle has 1 string with 5 notes. And this is how it's handled. This other hand handles a bow. So when you play with the bow and you put the fingers here, each of the finger makes a note. So these are 4 notes from the 4 fingers, and the string alone makes a 5th note. So it has 1 string and 5 notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry.
Try and mix up.
Yeah, try it.
All right. Never was musically inclined.
See what you can do, honey.
Okay.
So you try to extend the hand up.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's a bit hard press.
Hard press. Okay.
Slight touch with a finger. Yeah, that's the concept.
You say that made it sound so good.
Yeah.
He's a professional.
You made it sound good. Y'all come back next year and I'll have you on the show. That was kind of cool, man.
It's called a tube fiddle.
Okay.
That's nice.
There you go.
These are called xylophones. Xylophones are made of a special wood, and it's called macadamia wood. Maybe you could view from this side.
What's your phone?
That's just good.
So this is the tuning of xylophones. The bigger the depression is down and the longer, the deeper the sound. So these are, they have got 12 keys with 5 tones, like octaves. Like when here, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are played together. These are octaves. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in such a way, you need to have another person to mix a song. Then if you're one person, you will need to play them randomly, just like.
You're good.
Go ahead, Sky. Break it down for us. Don't know how because you ain't never
Sound
tried.
best at the edge.
On the edge of it, Sky.
Like. And that one as well. You need to, but like, you need to hold it. This one.
So you play that Sky, play this one.
I'll wait like piano.
Okay, good.
Drums are made of cow skin and wood. And the bigger the drum, the deeper.
Bigger the drum, the deeper the sound.
So now Just drum like this. Just keep that pace. Continue with that. So don't lose the pace. Let's go together.
Okay.
Yes, just continue with that. I'm going to mix up.
Okay.
Just remain on that. When you lose the pace, lose the pace.
Ah,
We need to work together.
Sky wants to hit it. What's this, animal skin over the top of that?
Cow skin.
That's cow skin over the top of that.
Cow skin and wood.
How old is that drum there?
These ones are older than me. I come with 9.
109-year-old
They
drum?
were among the first collections of the museum.
This one's talking about placemat.
When the collection is the first made.
This one is 109 years old?
Sure, more than that.
Wow.
They are for sale. If you need, there is a lady who sells them. I can call her and you.
109 years old, Sky. That's amazing.
Can I call the lady?
Babe, we'll find some at the store, at the market.
Okay. He says